Picasso. It was a 1930 painting by Picasso, and it's called Le Rêve in French, which means the dream. Interpreted, it's the dream. And he wanted that painting more than anything else, and he paid $50 million. Now, it looks big on the screen, but if you saw it in person, it's about that big and about those dimensions. And he hung it in the lobby of one of his hotels because he had an emotional attachment to the dream that was hanging on the wall there. And it represented, he said, how he started with nothing. Then came a thought and a dream in his heart that he could do something with his life. And today in Vegas, the landscape of the Strip has his fingerprints all over, and he was emotionally attached. He paid $50 million for that piece of art. And then 5 years later, an investment banker from New York wanted that piece of art and contacted him and said, I will pay you. They negotiated $139 million for the dream. That is an $89 million increase in a picture for 5 years. And he decided to sell it. Now, this is where the story gets fun. He invites all of his celebrity friends, famous people, wealthy people from all over the world. They had a party at one of his hotels, and they said, we are going to say goodbye to the dream. And Steve Wynn has an eye disease, and sometimes it gets his balance off, and he had it up on an easel right behind him, and he was standing up addressing the crowd, and everybody was watching, all kinds of famous people out in the audience. And he turned to refer to the portrait, the dream, and when he did, he lost his balance tragically, and his arm, this is a true story, went through the picture. The $139 million picture was shredded and torn. So he called the man that the painting was supposed to go to the next day, and he said, I don't want the painting now. And he said, well, I'm going to buy the painting from you. I want it. He said, well, you can't just do that. I've got to have the whole 139 like I gave you. So he bought the damaged, torn dream, shredded dream. He bought it and gave it back. He took 1 year and searched and found an art surgeon who began to work on that painting. And amazingly, within 1 year, that painting was back restored better than it ever was. He thought the dream, everybody thought the dream was without value, was useless, was worthless, and it would never be the same. And what happened was amazing because the same investment banker called him and said, I will now pay you $155 million for that dream that was damaged, that has been repaired. When I think about Mark Pentecost, I don't think about someone who's had it easy. He was 43 years old, he and Cindy, when he decided to do more than teach. That was an honorable, wonderful vocation, teaching and coaching. Someone said, people who can do. People who can't teach. Now, that's not derogatory toward teachers, but the person went on to say, people who can do. People who can, they go do it. People who can't teach others to do it. But he went on to say the greatest teachers are the people who do it and then turn around and teach others and impart into others how to do it. He's not just going to come out here and tell you to do it and try to hype you up to do it. He's telling you from his own experience. Can you imagine risking everything, starting? All he had was a dream, just like you, just like me. And to see what has happened in 22 short years, the enormous impact this couple has had on the world. Hospitals built, schools built, mission things, churches built, all kinds of things that you can't even imagine, the millions and millions and tens of millions of dollars that have gone to feed and to help and to lift and to inspire and raise people up from the ashes. It's really remarkable. It's really remarkable. I want to praise you this. So I meet a lot of people, and I've met a lot of people. Teresa and I've met a lot of people. We've been in leadership a long, long time. But we had gone through something the last 3 years of our life in our family that felt like I had fallen through a Picasso. The beautiful picture and portrait of a perfect family, perfect marriage, perfect children. Something in it just happened the last 3 years. It's like the dream was shredded. And that's when we met Mark and Cindy at Pentecost. And they invited us, I still don't know why, but they invited us to come to the ranch and just hang out for a day. And we hung out, and we had the most wonderful time. And later that night at about 11 o'clock, we were all hyped up. Mark was all hyped up, and we were all going. And Cindy was so kind, she brought us tea, and we thought, that's so sweet. She was putting us to sleep. She brought us sleeping time. It's time to go home. And she was like, I'm ready to go to bed. The next day, we fly on his helicopter to Pentecost Island. And oh my God, I'm a paddleboarder, and I got to paddleboard all the way around that island, 100 acres island. It was the most remarkable thing. But the greatest moment, a healing moment, happened. When you come in contact with a dreamer, look out. Your dream will start kicking again. Your dream will start saying, it's possible. There's something about a dream. Listen, don't clap on my time. I got 2 more minutes. But the remarkable thing about a dreamer, a real God-called dreamer, and that's what Mark Pentecost is. Nobody was dreaming in Egypt when Joseph showed up. As soon as he showed up, the Bible said the butler had a dream, the baker had a dream, Pharaoh had a dream. If you don't have a dream, get around somebody who's got a dream and suddenly you'll get it. Watch this. I mean, my wife and I, we just, when you reach a certain level of success, it can harden you also. Because you don't trust as much. You don't open as much in friendships. You feel more protected. But I'll never forget, my wife reminded me of this, the impact that it had. The biggest moment was not the amazing island, was not the 5,000 acre ranch that is just breathtaking, that God and all the philanthropic things these people do, it's unbelievable. But the greatest moment was on the back of that boat as we were going to dinner across the bay. Mark Pentecost starts singing a country song. He turns on a country song from a guy named Dirk Bentley.
It's Dirk.
And he's standing in the back of the boat.
Right.
And he starts dancing. And he starts singing. And it's about living. It's about living. This is how we introduce him if I might have threw it away. I had to write the words down. I got to finish with this. It was the most precious thing. I looked over at my wife while Mark was dancing and the words and just having the biggest time. And the words of this song say, some days you're just living. Some days you're just alive. And it goes on, some days you're living like you never die. Some days you're living and blue is bluer up in the sky. Some days you're living and your high is a little higher. You feel the fire you've been missing. Some days you're just living. And he got to dancing. And I'll never forget the picture of that. And I looked over and Sharice had tears. My wife had tears going down her face. Because she said for the first time in several years, she felt the Lord say to her, God, whatever you want to call him, that inner voice, said to her, it's okay to live again. I'm the restorer of dreams. And when I get through with it, it'll be more valuable than it was before it was torn and ripped to pieces. All right, get up on your feet. Because I'm about to introduce you to someone who absolutely can make the dream in you become real and alive. Would you give a warm welcome to the one and only Mark Pentecost?